welcome to the Brain Crops podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea Myers, and today I am so excited to be hosting my friend Markus Kaulius, who I met last year, and every single conversation that we've had has just been so enlightening and so enriching. And I think that the reason for that is, Markus, what I love about you, and everyone is just about to get to experience this, is you're so transparent. You're so true to who you are and comfortable with who you are, that it just creates this container that's really warm and inviting. And it's not like you have to try and figure out what you mean by something, because you just say it and you're living your truth. And I just love that about you. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Chelsea. That's a really warm and kind introduction. I've always loved our conversations. I could absolutely say the same about you. You are coming off as very authentically you. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I've just been psyched for this conversation.
Me too. Well, I'll give a more formal introduction now so that everyone who doesn't know you can get to know you. Markus is an impact-driven serial entrepreneur and founder of multiple 8- and 9-figure businesses. His 25-year career, he's grown a company from startup to 170 million in global sales and impacted the lives of over 10 million people. His debut book, Play a Bigger Game, 7 Universal Principles to Experience Real Fulfillment and Win at Life, was in the top 10 selling books in America within 3 weeks of release. With his success in investing and his dedication to integrity, philanthropy, and his faith, Markus has been featured in nearly every network and publication, including Forbes, USA Today, CNN, PBS, and Fox News. Markus has ownership in over 40 companies, including a few professional sports teams, and the revenue from these companies is in the billions. He mentors countless entrepreneurs and CEOs and loves investing in the next generation of leaders. So, Markus, welcome again to the show.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think people got high hopes for this conversation now.
I do too. Yeah, I'm really pumped about it. Well, Markus, you've built these empires, as I just expressed, and you've impacted so many people. So when you look back, what moment or internal shift felt like your true initiation into the deeper game that you're playing now began?
Oh, wow. What a rich question right off the hopper, eh? Boom, let's go.
Do we do anything surface level?
Wow, that is so good. You know, as I'm listening to you ask that question, I'm going, I don't know if it's ever fully clicked in. And I think this is actually a good answer, because I think everybody, even when they're experiencing some success in business, they're going, I don't feel it internally yet. And I think that's where, imposter syndrome really hits people. Like, I don't belong in this room. And I don't know if we'll necessarily ever feel like, oh, I definitely belong here, unless you're letting arrogance kind of kick in a little bit. For me, like, I don't experience imposter syndrome. I want to be kind of clear on that point. I think if I'm in a room, God has put me in that room for a reason. So I don't think I've actually hit that point yet where I'm like, oh yeah, like I've made it. And I don't know if I actually ever will, because I feel like if I ever were to say those words, I'd lose my hunger, and I'd lose there would be a fire that went out in me. And most importantly, I'm so far from finishing God's work in my life on this planet. And that is what really psychs me every day to have a big day.
Wow. What a profound response. Okay, so what if, because you and I both do a lot of coaching with high achievers. So what if we played with this concept and what you just shared? Could we shift what it's supposed to feel like? So we don't expect to get there and feel like this, oh, you've arrived feeling. Like, what if it's supposed to feel like you're still one foot in front of the other?
Oh, that is so good. I love this shift. And I mean, this is what I know you and I both talk about all the time. If you think it's just a destination, oh man, you're gonna be so disappointed. There's never a destination. And anything in business, like, well, if my business makes this much, or if I have this much money in my account, that destination will never satisfy. You'll hit it, and then you'll go, oh shoot, maybe it needs to be further out. Or as a high achiever, we'll just keep moving that goalpost further and further. So I agree with you completely that this is about the journey. Like, I love this journey so much. As long as I'm doing the things each day that I know I'm supposed to be doing, I'm good. In fact, I'm in this beautiful place in my life now where all I think about is today. I don't have these big goals to set for tomorrow. And I know for people starting out in business, this is not necessarily the path you want to take, because everyone is going, no, you got to set these goals and stuff. I don't. Focusing on the Bible for me, Jesus never taught us to pray about tomorrow. Isn't that wild? Never once taught us, like, here's how to pray for your future. Everything was about, I need to pray for who I am right now. And I really felt him calling me this year, going, if you just focus on today and be the man I'm calling you to be today, tomorrow will take care of itself.
So beautiful. Yes. And then the belief, right? If we're going to talk about Jesus, he's believe, and then it's yours. Believe, and then you'll receive.
Yes.
Wow. I love your words. So, okay. So if the journey is the destination, and you're right. So a lot of our audience, we've hit those numbers, and the numbers solve, those are solve where you get to vacation, the zip code you live in, the number in your bank account. But for some of us, like you mentioned earlier, if you're misaligned, if there's a deeper misalignment taking place, that next comma takes place and you don't even really notice it because you're so wrapped up in the adrenaline rush and the cortisol of, like, got to do more, got to be more, got to fix something that's going on internally. So your book is called Play a Bigger Game. What is this real game that we're here to play beyond the scoreboard of money and acquisitions?
That's really good. Everybody's game is very different. And so ultimately this idea of playing a bigger game, it's this inner tugging inside you that you're supposed to be doing more with your life. Like, you've been called for something bigger. And it seems to be like one of the worst things about this world that we've constructed, where it's telling you, you deserve more rest. Get back on the couch, do more TV, spend more time on your phone. Don't work so hard. You're working too hard. And we get so comfortable. We get so complacent. Play a bigger game is for the people who are like, yeah, I know there's more to my life. I was meant for more. And I know I'm playing a small game. I think I love hearing from people who are like, you're calling me out. I know you're calling me out. I know I'm playing a small game, but I'm meant for the big leagues. And Play a Bigger Game, the book, it's just all the principles I put together and used in my life over my 25, 30 years to go from being really poor. And I don't just mean financially, but I absolutely do mean financially. We were poor spiritually. We were such a broken family. I was so broken and weak and inauthentic, and I didn't even know who I was, and all of the negative stuff, no confidence even. To change each day just a little bit, to be on the right path, to move towards who I wanted to become, who I was called to become in this life. And the book it's nicely, lightly written. It's not complex, and it's got tons of challenges and principles to really sink your teeth into, that you can make changes today, that by tomorrow you will start to feel like a different human being.
Wow. So can you talk more about that? Because I think that a lot of us have, a garden variety experience. Some of us have the whole, like you mentioned, the poverty of time and relationships and finances and spirituality. What happened for you? How did you pull out of that? Because whether we're experiencing one or all of those things, it can be really tempting to just give in. It can also be really compelling that this is just this life for you. Maybe better wait for the next one. What happened for you? How did you shift that?
Well, I was really blessed to hear God's voice when I was 15 years old, and
Audibly?
audibly,
Okay.
and not just audibly, but because it's God, I felt what He said in every cell of my body. So when I was 15 years old, that was my rock bottom. I had no confidence, no self-worth. I was at my lowest. I disliked my life. I hate to say this word. I hated my life so much. And I was so blessed. I was going somewhere I had never been. And I felt God say, hey, no one where you're going knows who you are. So what if you weren't the person that the world has created you to be, but what if you were the person you wanted to be, who I want you to be? And I felt it through every cell in my body. And immediately, the first thing that came to my mind was, I want to be a more confident man. I know I'm supposed to be a confident guy. And now I want to share with everybody exactly what I did, but I'm also giving you the opportunity right now. You don't have to wait for God to speak to you. Maybe he already has. Maybe you can take this moment right now and say, you know what? Okay, I'm going to try what this guy is saying. I'm going to use this as my moment. And for me, I said, well, what would a confident man look like? Okay, well, we all know the answer. Chest goes up a little bit. Look, even you, Chelsea, you knew right away. You're like, well, I'm going to sit up a little strong.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a little more eye contact. Look at my body language. Doesn't that look like a more confident guy?
Right.
What? Everybody, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this, right now, it'll take you 3 seconds. Change your body and pretend to be a super confident version of yourself. What would that look like? Even sitting up like this, putting the shoulders back, making better eye contact, thinking, if I was to shake your hand, yes, you're welcome. I'm going to shake your hand real nice. Immediately, you actually feel like a more confident person. And it was so wild for me because I stepped off this plane into this new place and I was a different person. And people received me as the person I presented. It was wild. Now you might go, well, hold on. Were you just faking it? No, I was putting on a face back at home of something I didn't even want to. I was playing a role I didn't want to play. I was finally letting that go and becoming the man I was meant to be. This was the authentic Markus. Now, the real work had to begin though, because I said to myself, okay, well, if I want to be this confident man every day, it's not necessarily just easy as putting my shoulders back. What are some of the things? And Chelsea, I'm going to ask you right now, we didn't rehearse this. If there were like 3 things you could do right now to be a more confident version of yourself, what would they be?
Oh, good questions. I would speak promptly, but not for attention, just to when I feel inspired to speak, I'd feel
Ooh,
comfortable
nice.
speaking. And when it comes to speaking, I would speak slowly, not feel rushed or like I can't take up the
Good.
space of my voice.
Good.
Um, and I think I would listen openly because your answer, no matter what it may be, or your response, can't impact my energetic frequency unless I allow that.
Oh, beautiful answers. Now, Chelsea, do you think if you did that every day, do you think in a month you would be a more confident person?
Oh, I'm sure.
Sure, right? Positive. This is the coolest thing. Most of us know, so you know what? Not most of us. All of us know the answers. If you really give it a moment to think about it, okay, what would I need? Now, it doesn't have to be confidence. It can be anything in your life. Health is an important one. Health is one that, my health is failing me. And it's like, okay, if I said to you, what are 3 things you could be doing every day to become a healthier version of yourself? Everybody knows the answers. Are you willing to do them every single day? And so most people need to hit their rock bottom. So going back to your original question, how this all started, having people in a place, if you listening are in a place right now where you're in a bad spot and you feel like maybe I'm getting close to my rock bottom, I'm so happy for you. I have so much mercy. I know how bad it feels. But maybe you needed to hit your rock bottom so you're actually willing to do the things that are going to change your life.
Wow. Yeah, so that's a really hopeful place to be when it seems like hope is pretty bleak. To recognize that, if it can't come from your own mind, or you can't feel those impressions telling you there is something more for you, to hear other people say,
Ooh.
actually there is. There is.
Yeah.
So, did you have some sort of mentor or some sort of guide supporting you as you transitioned to this new you?
Mm, beautiful question. And the answer is yes. I had Tony Robbins. Now, I am not blessed to have known Tony Robbins when I was 15 years old, but I had his cassette tapes. I think my brother had them and I came across them, and Tony spoke to me. And this is actually one of my favorite topics to discuss, is that your mentor doesn't have to be someone you know. Chelsea can be your mentor. She's got this beautiful podcast, which has incredible guests, and they can guide you. Chelsea can be your mentor. So yeah, I had Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has been my mentor for 31 years. Now, fortunately, a few years back, I actually started traveling with him. I was in his inner circle. I was in his platinum group, and I got to actually spend time with Tony. And I got to share with him the impact he's made in my life. But to answer your question, I had Tony's tapes, and he would guide me. He would just give me hints on how to, actually not hints, he would make it really clear. Do this and you will be more confident. Try this and you will influence people more. And I think the difference for me that most people don't experience, and I hope that you listen to this and try this, I'm willing to do things all the way. I'm willing to be super consistent. If I know something's going to work, I have the faith that it will. And we know the answer. Like if I said to you, do you think you'll be in better shape if you worked out 5 days a week? Of course the answer is yes. Like who would say no to that? Yet people do it for like 1 or 2 weeks and then they go, oh, it's not working for me. It's like, oh, whoa. What, you think you're the first person on the planet to exercise and you won't get results? You are not the first person to not get results in 10 days. You have to be consistent with these things. So make a decision that this is who I'm going to be. This is who I'm designed to be. This is the game I'm called to play. I want to play a bigger game in life. I want to experience more. I want to expect more. I want to have higher standards in life. And you know the things you have to do every day.
Yeah. And I think, just at least be willing to try it on. That is such a valuable thing. Try it on for an extended period of time because, some people get really hung up in fear and they even will confess their fear as though it's some badge of honor and now they're excused from being courageous. But one thing I like to say in those conversations is, what if there is no such thing as fear? There's only faith in what you want or faith in what you don't. And right now, if you quit, you're exercising faith in what you don't want. You don't want more of this result in this path. And what you're suggesting is you've got to stick it out for a certain period of time. If it's working out, I don't know, 30, 60 days before you start to see, feel, and like really embody that new person who is a person who works out regularly. But that goes for anything. It really does.
Oh, Chelsea, that's so wise. And you also touched on something else that I love talking about, because when people are making this change, I think one of the first things they have to change is their identity. If you don't change your identity, and here's what I'm talking about in case you've never gone through this, everybody, you have a bunch of things that you say about yourself. That's your identity. So let's say I'm going to start working out for maybe the first time in my life, or I'm getting back into it. But I'm the person who says, oh man, I always screw up on my diet. I always cheat on my workouts. I always do that. Those are identifiers. And there is almost nothing stronger in this world than how you identify yourself, because you will make yourself right. So you will purposely miss your workouts because it's like, that's who I am. I warned you. So first, change your identity. Now, you don't need to lie about yourself. Oh, yes, I am in the best shape of my life. Well, you know you're not. And now your brain's going, what? That's bullcrap. You could say, I am somebody who works hard. I am somebody who sticks it out. And you might need to say it to yourself 55 times. You might need to put sticky notes all over your desk to remind yourself that's who you are. Set alarms in your phone that go off and go, I am somebody who sticks it out. You think if that happens to you enough over a week, over 2 weeks, over a month, you won't soon believe that you are somebody who sticks it out? And now when you're at the gym and you're considering not going to the gym, you go, I'm somebody who sticks it out. I'm somebody who keeps doing things consistently. Isn't that a better identity to have than to hold on, just like you said, this badge of honor? Now, I'm somebody who gives up. I'm somebody who loses. I'm somebody who fails. Just so everybody knows, I held those badges for years. They sucked. They did nothing for me. They didn't serve me, and it put me into a pit. So if you can hear this, please just try changing your identity. Go after it.
And it can feel, as someone who's shed several skins as well, it can be very emotional, that experience of releasing an identity. In fact, it's a death of sorts.
Yes.
Because you really have to release and let go. And it's so interesting because it's like the moment that you actually do, and you'll know, for me, it's a physical, visceral, emotional, it's like a full body spirit response. When that happens, you now are an open vessel for something more beautiful, for the light to come in on that next level of goal or that next thing that you are after. And it's so beautiful. And so there is that temporary discomfort, but by electing it, you expand your range of comfort because now you're no longer bound by that old identity.
Oh, so good. Oh my goodness, that is so good. I feel like I need to bring up the next step because it can be really easy to fall if you try to do what Chelsea and I just discussed and you don't now change your environment. The people you spend time with, the people you surround yourself with are critical. So if I go and I just changed my identity, yeah, Marcus, I'm ready. I am someone who doesn't quit. But unfortunately, for however long you were holding on to that, I'm a quitter, I'm the person who gives up on stuff, you are surrounding yourself by other people who have a very similar identity. So now if you've changed yours and you're like, yeah, I am no longer a quitter, but you go hang out with a group of people who are like, oh no, we quit. We're quitters. I don't like your chances. I'm really sorry to say that. And it doesn't mean, I want to be really clear with what I'm saying. I'm not saying, so go change your friends immediately. Dump those losers. No, you're hearing me wrong. You need to now add people into your life who you know embody that same identity. It's one of my favorite things when people reach out to me after reading my book and are looking to spend a bit more time around me because they know if you hang out with me long enough, I'm going to brainwash you into thinking you can conquer the world. And I love that. I love being that guy in people's lives that it's like, I know how many people are in people's lives who drag them down the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're working out again? Whoa, you're going to order all healthy food? Oh, you're better than us? And it's like, oof. If you are hanging out with people who eat clean, who like to work out, it will be natural for you to be like, okay, I guess we're eating clean. And how long before it just becomes second nature to you as well? It will be a habit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would offer also to piggyback what you've said to notice. I talked to you last year when I had built the program Quantum Upgrade Personal Transformation. I had a couple of clients who were working through a struggle with pornography. So I built a program, and one of the things that we go into in that program along the lines of what you're saying is to just start noticing, like, what type of media am I engaging in? What type of jokes am I, engaging with? What type of songs am I listening to? Because whether it's pornography or drugs or overspending or overworking, whatever the thing is, whatever our thing is, there are going to be triggering events. And they're, like you said before, they're identified by us. We've decided that's a trigger for me. So, side note, we can unprogram that. But in the moment, and when we're trying to change or shift identities, it's really important to know what the programming's been up to that point and just notice it and then decide, is this someone that I want to spend all of my time with still? Is this someone I want to spend some of my time with still? Is this someone I want to love from afar now? What is actually most aligned with who and how I'm becoming, since I've identified I no longer want the past?
Oh, perfect advice. That's beautiful. And by the way, I loved talking about that program with you. I think that I think pornography is one of the craziest things that I want to watch my words here. It's horrifying how much it is just seeped into our lives, and it's just so commonplace. And by the way, I wasn't about to judge anybody. I have so much mercy for people in that position. We all have our vices. I have my vices. So I'm not sitting up on some sort of pedestal going, oh, that vice is worse than this other vice. So I have so much mercy. But if you are listening to this and you are still struggling with pornography, my number one encouragement, start working on it immediately. There are so many courses available. Work with Chelsea, work with that course to help you break that bond that you have with pornography. It is ruining so many places in your life.
You know, the thing with pornography too is it's not something where we have this definition of what pornography is, how much, if any, is acceptable, when does it become too much, when am I now addicted or within the grips of it. We don't have these standard definitions we all agree on. And so when people start to question that for themselves and in their lives, it is a really personal journey that takes some reflection and self-discovery. But I'll never forget what you said, Markus, when I was talking to you about that last year. You made the comment, and you feel free to rephrase me if I've got it wrong, but you said something along the lines of, I've decided that I save all of my sexual energy for my wife, and how powerful that's been for you and your relationship. So for anybody listening who may be thinking about what role they want pornography to have in their life, that is an identity option to choose as well.
Oh, thank you for that. Yes. And this has been the way I've been doing it for 10 or 15. I mean, you lose track of time, but many years. When you make that transition, and so if you are a man who says, I am going to save all of my sexual energy for my wife, you won't believe how profound your life will change. The changes, the way I treat my wife. Just think about on the most surface level. One, you don't necessarily need anything sexual from your wife if you're getting it from pornography. Well, turn that switch off. Now I need it from there. And now I'm not the kind of man that's like, oh, this is happening. No, now I better, I don't know, buy my wife more flowers, rub her shoulders and feet a little more often. You start pouring out more energy, more loving energy towards her, but it's so much deeper than that. I want to listen to her more. I want to grow closer to her because I want real intimacy with her. And so what a beautiful transition it was for our marriage, where I'm listening more intently and I'm wanting to grow deeper with her because she is my everything. And we are one. Like the Bible says, like we became one. We are one human being now. So how she feels is how I feel. And how I feel is how she feels. And what a beautiful intimacy it has created for my wife and I. And we've been super happily married for over 20 years now.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's very inspiring. And it's a really good dovetail into my next question, because I was curious as I was thinking about you, what you've learned about power and humility. And you've described essences of both as they coexist in the life of someone who holds a lot of influence.
Oh, what a beautiful question. I love that humility. We didn't rehearse this, by the way, everybody, but I really love the topic of humility because it's really missing in society. And you know what? How you phrased it is so beautiful because it's really missing in a lot of powerful people, like the vast majority. And it's sad and it's so crazy, Chelsea. I literally had this conversation with my wife like 3 days ago that I don't know how many people are listening. When you get to your 40s, it feels like it's really hard to make friends. I don't know if people agree with that. Like I have lots of people I would consider friends. Like I love Chelsea. I think she's absolutely a friend, but she's across the world. Like it's not like, hey, Chelsea, you want to come over for dinner with Brooke and I?
Mhm.
And I have lots of that, but it's harder and harder to meet people. Now, there's also the question of, okay, if they're at the same station in life as me, so maybe they've had some more business success. Now you've not only narrowed down the amount of people are in that boat, but now I don't like hanging out with people who are like, let me tell you about all my success. And did I tell you about the new Ferrari I bought today and all this? And listen, I'm not judging like, hey, you guys do your own things. It's just not for like, I don't want to talk about, there are times there are business conferences and stuff. And it's like, yeah, let's talk about what we've achieved. And now let's push each other further. But if we're just hanging out and we're going golfing, I don't want to hear for 4 hours how great you are and how great you are in business and stuff. So the balance of humility, I would encourage people to practice this early. So even if you haven't experienced the success in life that you're hoping to experience, practice humility now. And I would say you are going to achieve that success much faster, because humility is something that is so rare in the world today that people are so drawn to it, and people will want to see you succeed. People will help you succeed. People will go out of their way to make introductions because they're like, this guy deserves to succeed. I want to see this guy on top, because nobody is humble like that anymore. So I also recognize I might sound like a guy who's very not humble by suggesting, I'm willing to run that risk. But don't believe your own press clippings. My pastor taught me that when I was in my early 20s, and man, did it really stick with me. Just don't believe your own press, especially in this world, especially with social media. Everything is about, hey, I just want to highlight all the best things in my life. Here's how many millions our business did. I sold this and I did this, and how awesome am I? Don't believe your own press clippings. Keep yourself in check and find people to surround yourself with that keep you humble.
That was a wise pastor. Was that before or after you made your first million?
After.
After. Okay. How interesting. So do you feel
He's
like
very
maybe
wise.
do you think that he was like sensing like, hey, let me give him this nugget now to save him years of regret later?
Yeah. So that's Brian. He's still my spiritual advisor. Actually, we just spent time together yesterday.
Oh,
And actually, I just wrote him a letter. This is a very valuable exercise, by the way. If you haven't written a handwritten letter to somebody who has made a real impact in your life, do it today. Take 10 minutes to handwrite a letter. Do you know how meaningful that is to that person? But it also reminds you of what they did for you, what they've poured into you. And so to answer your question, I was not in a place where someone as brilliant and beautiful and spiritual as Brian was and is to take me into his life. And he invited me into a discipleship. Right around that time, he gave me that quote, by the way. And I'm in this discipleship with guys who have been Christian for years, and they are quoting scripture and this and that. And I'm like, and instead of me letting imposter syndrome take over and go, I don't belong in this room, I go, God's put me in this room for a reason. Wow, am I going to learn? Like, this is like, I'm in university now and I belong in kindergarten, but that's okay. I'm willing to do the extra studying. I'll do the extra homework. And those are the kind of relationships that radically changed my life and put me on a much better path.
man, what a blessing. It's so
Yeah.
incredible. I asked because when I was really young, actually before 20, I had spent years disconnecting head from heart, from gut. I got addicted to drugs and alcohol, all kinds of
Mm.
things. And I had this mentor, this lady. I mean, she was probably 4 times my age, and she was working with me as I was pulling myself out. And she had this curriculum, and you had to handwrite, by the way, papers, and she'd give you a topic and you had to handwrite. And the deal was, once you wrote the paper, you got to move on to the next topic. And this was,
Mm.
used in your sessions as you grow. Well, I did the first two. It was trust and then respect. And she didn't let me move on to the third one, which was humility. She kept saying, no, go back. I want you to go back again. And I'm like, I'm doing the thing. Everybody gets to move on after you write the paper, you have the session, you move on to the next topic. But she wasn't letting me move on to that third one. And it wasn't until I realized I wrote my third paper on trust. And I was like, I guess I don't really trust myself yet. And she's like, now you're being honest. Now you can move forward through. And, it's just so beautiful the way that it ties into your story there, where you are seeing results, and you luckily have someone say, hey, now you have the ability to create results. You can see that. Keep your eye on the most important things. I wasn't
Mm.
creating results. I was, just barely staying alive each day. But it's the same presence in both. You've got to have that interconnection with yourself in order to
Mm.
sustain a trajectory that you're trying to create as a new identity in your life.
Oh, really, really good. Oh, that's profound. Listen, Chelsea, while we've got you talking, I actually don't want to stray too far from the humility discussion, because I really would love to hear more of your thoughts on humility and power and how they belong together, or what relationship they should have. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
That's an interesting question. I think there are different versions of humility based on the individual and based on like what exactly you're talking about. But what I found, and I can relate, by the way, to the meeting friends in your 40s thing. I was like nodding my head. Both my husband and I would be nodding our heads like, yeah, I wish you lived closer because we could have dinner. Um, but what I found is that more often than not, if I don't feel like there's an energetic resonance, I find saying less is better than saying more. But then there needs to be that balance, because what if the people that are ready and willing for your message need to hear it from you? You've got the
Mm.
knowledge or you have the experience. And so I think it just goes back to really questioning yourself, like, where is this coming from? Am I the vessel and you're the light and you're speaking through me? Or is this like me needing to get some sort of pat on the back, or be the person who knows, or the one who talks first? It's just so really, really knowing what is the motivation here, I think can help us distinguish whether this is a humble action or whether there's some motive even laced underneath another motive.
Mm. Oh, rich. And by the way, I love that you just brought up the listening and when is the right time to speak, because I think that is so beautifully intertwined with what we're talking about, especially humility. One of the principles I put this in the book, if I'm not mistaken, but it's don't speak unless you're asked. I've taken decades to learn this lesson, but in the most simplest way to think about it, if someone's not going to ask your opinion, what are the chances of them listening to your opinion and doing anything with it?
Yeah. And when you have kids. And so this is also a parenting lesson. We've definitely learned this one too.
How?
sometimes, sometimes the people you want so badly, whether it's your children or your family members or your friends, you're like, man, I have something that I know would just benefit that loved one of mine. But if they're not asking, you're speaking for yourself.
Yes. Oh, so parenting, that how often, and every parent is nodding their head, because every parent on earth has had somebody come up and go, hey, let me tell you why you're parenting wrong right now. And they may not use those words, but that's what they're doing when they give unsolicited advice. Like, well, let me tell you. And it's like, oh, let me stop you right there. But
Mm-hmm.
while that seems like such a extreme example, it's not. That's what we're doing every time. Like, hey, Chelsea, let me just give you some advice on your life. Hey, let me give you some advice on your podcast. And it's like, what? I didn't ask for that. What? Like, what? And right away, like our defenses go up, and nobody's hearing. And it's so funny you bring this up in the conversation of friends. We had people over recently. Obviously, I won't say any names. The gentleman wasn't interested in me at all. In fact, in about 4 hours, I want to say I spoke for 25 seconds.
Oh.
And I'm not even exaggerating, by the way. And
Mhm.
the 25 seconds, he did ask, well, what's going on with business for you? I started to explain, and he gave advice immediately on something with certainty I know he is not qualified to talk about. And I'm like, okay. And then that was the last thing I said basically all night. I mean, I just kept probing because, again, I'm not interested in interjecting. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, I'm not going
Sure.
to interject what I have to say. And so it was actually a great lesson for me, and built a really strong muscle for me, because I was like, I'm just going to keep listening until I'm asked anything. And I wasn't. So I
Mhm.
didn't speak.
But here's what I love about you. You didn't make it mean anything about you, obviously, because you have no problem sharing it because that had nothing to do with you. In fact,
No.
could be argued, a lot of things could be argued. It's a lot of good things about you. But I love that because a lot of people might look at that. I think I would have 20 years ago that happened to me, even 10 years ago if that happened to me. I might be like, gosh, what's wrong with me? What do I need to change? How do I chase down this approval of this person that I may never see
Mm.
again? But just going back to doing that deep inner work, then you need to understand why. What's underneath my need for approval from him? And it usually comes back to my need for approval from me.
Mm. Really good. Really good. And by the way, thank you for what you just said. And I don't want to come off like I just was judging this guy so hard. I know that he's going through stuff. I mean, that's the only answer to why somebody would talk for so long. So I
Sure.
have so much mercy. So I don't want to sound like, this guy's an idiot, or no, not at all. I had a ton of mercy for him. But again, me jumping in or me giving some advice, that wasn't going to help that situation at all.
Right. I want to pivot just a little bit here because I have a couple more questions. But I do want your advice on this one because I think it's such an important topic, and I think it's being talked about more, but it is so incredibly impactful. Could you talk to me about philanthropy? And I know it's a part of your life's rhythm. And from your view, what role does generosity play in leadership and result creation, not just as a financial act, but as a way of being?
Oh man, what a great question. Thank you for this. I think we should focus on generosity as one of our top 3 characteristics we should all try to embody. And no, just like Chelsea said, it doesn't just mean financially. It can, but we need to be more generous with who we are. We are here to help each other. We are here to serve each other. And here's why I can say that so confidently, because if you haven't discovered that in your own life yet, it means you probably haven't done enough serving yet and helping others. When we serve someone else, to me, that is the greatest feeling. I can get very little great feelings when I'm just serving myself. Now, don't get me wrong, I have to take care of myself. I can give only out of my full or filling up bucket. Like if I'm not making sure I'm fed or my health is in a good place, then of course I can't help as much as I should. And that's about me showing up the best version of myself, which is part of my generosity. If I can show up my best self, I can give my best to whom I'm serving. And it is so rewarding. I feel super selfish. When I am giving of myself, I get so much. I feel like I get more out of it than the person I'm giving it to. So I do feel selfish doing it. But what a beautiful, positive rhythm to be part of, where I just keep giving and I keep receiving way more than I should.
Mm. And isn't that just like the most magical truth of it? Done
Yes.
that way, done for others, it has this magical magnetic effect. Now, I will say, going out and being generous, whether it's with your time, your knowledge, whatever it is, with the intent to get, like I'm doing this to become a magnet, you're like, contradicts the whole principle. And so it doesn't always
Yes.
work out that way. But gosh, it's so rewarding. And sometimes I find if I
Mm.
have a question in my heart, or if there's something I just can't figure out or can't seem to break through, by pausing on that thing and going and being of service to somebody or something else, it's like that answer just illuminates in my mind. Have you
Oh,
had that?
Oh, absolutely. It's so true. It's so true because you are putting yourself in a better place to receive the right answers, to let your mind think of the right answers. So that's so well said. And I think I struggled with it for a lot of years, by the way, of, okay, well, what are you saying? Like, just go to a soup kitchen? Maybe, maybe that's the answer. And I love what you said. Like, it needs to be your authentic way of serving. So if you're like, yeah, but I don't care about the soup kitchen stuff, I don't care about the homeless, then don't go to a soup kitchen. Find another way to serve. One way to serve is go into groups of people who are similar to you. Maybe they're a little bit behind you. Maybe they're a little behind you in age. I go to high schools quite a bit to serve teenagers because I love that. I think teenagers need people in their corner who are willing to pour into them. And so I love showing up. I work with, actually, I just started working with Junior Achievement, which is something beautiful across Canada and the US. And I get to speak to teens and empower them and let them know, like, what you're going through today does not dictate who you will be later on. I was bullied. I was in a terrible place. I was at my rock bottom. I thought I was worthless. And look what I get to experience today. You can do the same. You aren't going to be defined by what's happening to you today. But are you taking the steps to become that better version of yourself? So there's many ways that you can serve no matter where you're at. Serving might even just be listening to people, going and listening and giving of yourself, giving of your heart to someone who is in need. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, I actually got a lot out of that, especially when you're focusing on how can I serve? How can I help this other person? I think a lot of the conversations I used to walk into was, what am I going to get out of this? And that now it's really hard to see. Oh, they keep talking about their problems, man. This is, and it's like, oh yeah, that's not serving. And no, I'm probably, Marcus, you're not going to get anything out of that.
No, but if when you start looking for those opportunities to serve, you'll find that we live in a very abundant universe and there are so many. I mean, sometimes I'll just walk out of my office and if my intent is to be generous with myself and to like really take care of someone, I might notice that one of my kids, when I look into their eyes, I notice a need. They don't tell me the need. I
Mm.
notice the need. Or my spouse, maybe I'll like notice something that he did around the house that I may not have noticed if I was wrapped up in my own thoughts, but I'm like, oh,
Mm.
those clothes are over there. The pillows are put over there now. You just notice the little things. And I don't want to disregard how important those things can be because, we all seek recognition and seek to be noticed and to be valuable. And so when we can connect even on those small levels with people, it can open up the doors to, okay, how can I be of more service to my family, to my community,
Mm.
to, groups like you mentioned. So
Mm.
I guess if we could close out with one more question, I'm curious to know from you, based on everything we've talked about today, if you could encode one truth, one energetic imprint into every person listening today, something that they may not even be mentally ready to understand, but would energetically awaken to, what would that
Mm.
be?
Oh, wow. You're really good at this, by the way. I just want you to know.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I this has been such a blessing to spend this time with you. That shouldn't sound surprising. I love spending time with you, but you're really exceptional at this, and this is deep wisdom stuff.
Thank you.
thank you for letting me take part in this. I got to go back to faith, and I even love how you said, even if someone's not ready to hear this, for years, I heard big names like Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, and they would say, "Find God. There has to be something bigger than you at play." And I didn't understand why they said it that way. I was fortunate enough to really develop a good relationship with the Lord at around 15. And then around 22, 23, I really gave my life over to the Lord. But now, even in the last 2 years, I realized that those were terrible relationships I was offering the Lord. And now I'm in a good relationship. And I have no doubt in 10 years, I'll say, I didn't know what I was talking about now. Uh, but here's the crux of this: find God. If you are looking to be a successful human, and I don't just mean financially, but I do mean financially as well, but a truly successful, fulfilled human being, you almost can't do it. No, I'm not going to say almost. You can't. You can't do it without God. I've met so many people who have so much success in their life. If you saw their life on paper, you would go, that is a ridiculously successful person. But in talking with them, they would say, I'm maybe at 60 to 65% because there's nothing bigger than me. And if the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and just think about it in the most simplistic terms, if you are trying to run this big company and all the weight of the world is on your shoulders, all that stress, good luck. I've almost never met somebody who's strong enough to handle that. I wasn't, but I was so blessed that I didn't have to hold any of it. God offers peace. So I want to be clear with what I'm saying. You don't find God to find the God vending machine where I'm going to put in my prayers up top and down below I'm going to get all the money and all the things I want. No. The number one thing God will give you is peace. He offers it in spades. You look in the Bible, it talks about peace over and over. And I can tell you from personal experience, he brings so much peace to every situation. Every time I hand something over to him, I immediately receive peace. And then it's so much more. It's so much deeper. And you're missing out on so much. And my encouragement to you, if this is even getting through to you 0.05%, is to make a decision on your own. Just to look into it for a day or a week. Most of us, and I know it's going to be really hard for you to admit this, but you can think to yourself if you're having to admit this yourself. Most of us have created our idea of God and our opinions of God from social media. Social media has either directed you far away or shown you things that you're like, ugh, if that's God, I don't want anything to do with it. Well, why don't you look for yourself? If there really is a God who created this universe, who created you, and by the way, who loves you, isn't it worth just spending a little bit of time finding out if there's any truth to that at all?
It's beautifully said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Markus, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today and sharing your heart with us. Is there anything else on your mind or on your heart that you want to share before we close out?
Oh, thank you. Chelsea, again, thank you for letting me be part of this. Thanks for spending time with me. And anybody listening, if something today got through to you, will you just reach out to me? I just want you to know I'm in your corner. I'm not saying we're going to get to be best friends, but maybe. But at the very least, if you send me a message either on social media, like on Instagram, or if you reach out to me, listen, I'll give you my own email address. It's markus@playabiggergame.com. And that's Markus with a K. I will respond. I'll respond to you because, man, I just have so much love for people. And especially if something touched you today, if something made an impact, you will be blessing me so much. So when you talk about serving, you'll be serving me, and it will be a blessing for me to get to serve you back by sending you a message back. And who knows where that might lead. But anyway, I hope you all feel blessed. I hope you feel loved. I hope you feel the love coming through from me today. And if you took anything as me judging you or anything like that, I apologize in advance, but it really wasn't supposed to come across that way. I have so much love and so much mercy for the human condition. And again, I'd love to just be in your corner.
Thank you, Markus, and lots of love right back to you. I thoroughly enjoyed this as well. Thank you. I appreciate you joining me for today's episode. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show for access to additional coaching tools, as well as more episodes to help you create the life you truly desire.